Hi, welcome back to my channel, Jefferson and Friends. Today I'm going to hang out with my friend Jason, who is also my churchmate. The story of Jason is truly inspiring. Jason has been suffering from ALS for a long time. However, the uncontrollable body couldn't stop him from pursuing his own dream. He has finished up his secondary school. He has obtained a degree at the university. He is also now working for a bank, just like other employees. He also has his own YouTube channel called 車手日記, a racer diary. His story is awesome that we even have a song based on his story called Man of Steel. So today, I'm going to meet Jason, our true Man of Steel. Jason 都好多謝你接受我嘅訪問啦，傾下偈啦咁樣啦。咁其實即係我哋都認識你啦嚇，但係其實教會咁大啦，好多時其他人都未必知道你嘅故事咁樣啊。咁所以其實你自己嗰個嘅即係成個歷程係點樣嘅咧？
其實我本身就係細路仔嗰陣時開始發現有一個病啦，就叫做 SMA 嘅，即係中文係脊髓肌肉萎縮症啦咁樣。咁個病會令到我即係身體嗰啲肌肉會不斷退化啦。咁去到最後就會即係有機會喐唔到啊，或者係食嘢都食唔到啊，呼吸都有困難咁樣。而個心路歷程就係細個嗰陣時已經發現㗎啦，即係大概幼稚園嗰陣時發現自己可能點解出街啊行路嗰陣時會好快會冇力啊，同埋會成日跌啦，跟住都試過好多次冚磚頭啊，跌斷啲手腳咁樣都試過嘅。咁然後就一路都係讀嗰啲特殊學校咯。咁我接觸到好多唔同，都係有其他病嘅小朋友嘅。咁但係嗰陣時雖然我好細個啦，咁但係我都明白咗一樣嘢就係其實都有好多人比我更加困難，大有人在咯。咁當然當時細路仔就冇諗咁多嘢啦，即係純粹係覺得有困難咁就自己努力啲去生活咁樣。咁而大個咗少少之後咧，就會心靈上面就開始即係懂事啦嘛，就會諗多啲嘢啦。即係我比較深刻就係好多時同媽咪出街咧，咁好多人都會即係問我媽咪嘅，即係話你個小朋友點解咁樣㗎？甚至乎好多言語上面係令人好唔舒服嘅，係啊，即係會講一啲喂你係咪即係做錯嘢啊？個細路仔搞到即係受咒詛啊咁樣啦，即係有啲似真係好似頭先傾嗰個核子開眼嗰個故事咁樣，即係有好多唔明白嘅人咧就會去問呢個問題咯。咁但係我相信，始終我相信係佢哋都係因為唔明白所以咁樣問咯。我相信係始終好人係多啲嘅呢個世界。
咁所以其實即係喺你讀書嘅時間裏邊都遇到好多好嘅先生啦。
係啊，
即係我仔都即係讓你去明白其實好人係會多過即係大多數。明白。咁其實喺即係讀書嘅歷程裏邊啦，由即係呢個嘅小學去到中學咁樣，讀到大學都係一個幾易數嘅喎。可唔可以咁講？
都係比較少啲嘅。係啊，我認識啲朋友就真係唔多咯，讀到大學就，所以好感恩嘅。咁甚至乎入到大學我都讀到自己中意嘅科目啦。係啊，咁然後就有好奇妙嘅，跟住認識到一位石安嘅姊妹啦。咁然後佢就邀請我返家聚。係啊，咁跟住其實我嗰幾年咧，我一路都係揾緊啲教會想返嘅，即係一路個內心好想去尋求神咁樣，咁亦都返過2-3間教會，咁但係最後發覺都係信仰上面冇乜突破咧，就離開咗。咁然後直到遇到即係嗰位姊妹邀請我返教會啦，咁跟住我返咗第一次之後咧，我好記得第一晚嗰個感覺，永遠都即係永世難忘。我係未見過一間教會係咁用心去預備一啲信息咯，出嚟分享。雖然都係只係家聚咯，但係我已經好震撼。即係我記得嗰晚我翻到去已經，即係基本上我認定咗係呢間教會，即係我會一路翻落去。嗰幾年都風雨不改咁樣。
當時係大學嘅時間。
係啊，
係
啱啱畢業咗啊，我記得係2014年左右。
反而你係大學畢業咗嘅時間，差唔多嗰段時候啦，先至
係啊，
第一次翻教會。
係。
你翻邊個嘅家長咧？其實
我翻七 A L8，
即係嗰陣時已經係即係百人聚會模式嚟嘅，已經係。
係啊。
咁其實即係我哋都會知道啦，即係翻呢一間教會，雖然2014年都已經係比較即係後期啲嘅啦，已經係。咁即係當中你有冇啲咩嘅即係掙扎啦，或者係即係受到啲上面嘅衝擊啦，其他外邊嘅人啊各方面啊咁樣？
都有，我相信同好多弟兄姊妹都一樣，都會遇到。即係第一就係屋企人先啦，首當其衝嘅啫。即係佢哋會好質疑我啊，點解你都擺低咗咁多年啦，突然間又會翻教會嘅？咁同埋即係點解你要走到屯門咁遠咧？即係你住柴灣嘅喎。係，即係我同親每個人講都好震撼呢樣嘢。咁但係即係唯有係個日子時間上面，我一路堅持落去咧，咁打動到佢哋，即係覺得啊個仔唔係玩玩下喎，即係好認真呢個信仰嘅。咁然後佢哋都冇反對我啦。咁然後另一方面就係大學嗰啲同學啦，係啊，即係有時因為返咗教會，我都想即係正如牧師教我哋有一個守望者嘅責任咧，將啲信息分享出去嘅。咁有時當佢哋見到咧，就會開始知道我返石安啦，係啊，咁然後就我記得有幾個就主動嚟揾我嘅，即係問我係咪返石安啦。咁跟住就同我講啊，你間教會有啲問題喎，即係你小心啲啦咁樣。我係相信，因為我親身經歷過啊嘛，即係我知道我自己會分辨到，即係邊樣嘢係啱咯。咁又慢慢即係都唔緊要嘅，即係大家疏遠咗啦。咁所以基本上我已經冇曬大學嗰啲朋友啦。係啊，但係反而換咗就係有好多即係同心侍奉嘅弟兄姊妹。